Hello and welcome into the RotoWire esports show. I am Andrew Laird, joined as always by Ethan Sexton today to talk about Sunday's 5-game LPL LCK slate. Ethan, it's bad enough when the team I put in all my lineups loses, and it's even worse when the team that they lose to is actually the one that it's in the winning GPP lineups. Fun plus Phoenix, not so fun.
No, double whammy today, right? Little surprising that Rare Adam took it down. I mean, it's not like the biggest shock we've seen this season because Rare Adam are at least, we know, like a middle-of-the-pack, halfway decent team, right? But still, I really, as we talked about yesterday, expected FPX to really take that series, if not go right ahead and sweep it, but it just wasn't meant to be, man, unfortunately. So
just looking at some of the ownership percentages too, like
playing a team that lost and not having the team that beat them that was the nuts, right? So,
right. Yeah, I mean, looking at their ownership, I'm surprised just like how low it was. But I'll be honest, like the more content that I saw on the slate, it seemed like everybody liked FPX, and so like, I guess the process was right. Can I take away something from that?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, yeah, of course. Like I think everybody in their right mind would have favored FPX. It's just, we've seen upsets happen all year, and this is not even close to one of the most shocking ones that we've seen so far. So
good point.
I just take it whatever with a grain of salt, and these things happen, and whatever other cliche I can throw out there.
Right. The Damwon easy victory was not surprising, at least. Like I think. Maybe not that we overlooked them. I think we knew exactly what you're getting, but I think kind of the upside that we saw, Ghost particularly, just what isn't. Like I saw some of those scores. It felt like all of them scored over 100. So like it was just like
they smashed pretty good. So they were definitely where you needed to have pretty much a long stack of Damwon and then figure it out from there. So I mean they crushed, but we kind of knew they were going to crush, right? I think, we liked LNG to win, but not really score that well, and that's pretty much what happened with them. And then, I wasn't going to play T1, but I said yesterday I wasn't going to play KT either, and T1 ends up winning that series. And then RNG EDG was a pretty wild series, honestly. And I said I favored EDG, and it was looking really bad after the first game. RNG just crushed, and then EDG brought it back. They went to Game 3, and RNG came away with it, but I mean, either side of that one was definitely in play because that was a good, evenly matched series. So, I mean, I think the only thing that I really got wrong, I'll say we because you were on FPX as well, but I don't want to throw you under the bus with me. But I think FPX was really the only thing that we got wrong, right? Everything else kind of played out how we thought it would.
I think the only other thing I want to take out of it is I think Afrika are good enough to make teams that will beat them score.
Yeah, that's fair. They don't just roll over and get smashed, right? They're not really good enough to beat the top teams in the LCK, I don't think, but they're not like doormats either, right? So
right.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway as well.
Yeah. All right, Sunday's 5-game slate before we go back to the trudges of 2 gamers. DRX, the biggest favorite. Nobody's like overwhelming, but DRX is the biggest against Fredit Brion. Just no respect for Fredit Brion. BLG is next against Thunder Talk. Then kind of the highlight one of the LPL for the day at least, Top Esports favored against Invictus. Gen.g favored against Hanwha Life. And then obviously the series that everybody is excited about, OMG versus Rogue Warriors. Do you think, I want to start there because do you think there's any chance that series is the highest scoring series just because they're both so bad, or are they just too bad?
Yeah, well, when you said the highlight of the slate, I thought you were going to say Rogue Warriors or something. Gee, it's not that game? No. I think it's good that that's the 2 a.m. one because who's going to want to watch that, right? So we know, right, like in matchups like these against two teams that are really bad. These are the 2 worst teams in China. And we've seen before that in matchups like this, 2 really bad teams can be pretty good for fantasy, actually, right? So I do think there's a chance that it could be the highest scoring series on the slate just from sheer sloppiness, right? So I don't think either of these teams. We know neither of these teams are very good, but that doesn't mean that they can't be good for fantasy on a given day. And tomorrow's the day where you're going to want to take a shot maybe on one of these two teams, because when they play pretty much any other team, you don't want them at all. You want to target them, right? So I could see it honestly. It wouldn't be a surprise to me if this is the highest scoring series just from a sheer sloppy bad gameplay. But good for fantasy level, right? So that said, in matchups like these, I'm not paying for the team that's the price is the favorite, which is OMG here. Except for top lane, Ziv is more expensive. I mean, the prices are pretty close together. It's $200 difference everywhere, so it really doesn't matter. But objectively, when I looked at this matchup, I think even though Rogue Warriors are dead bottom in the standings, just because they've played a couple more games, I think they're a better team than OMG, at least lineup-wise on paper. I think Ziv is better than New. I think Haro is better than Aki. I think Forge and Mooming are both kind of crap, okay? But I think Betty is better than Eric, and maybe Cold is better than this. I'm going to butcher his name.
Is what I would say.
Kakshun. I'm going to butcher his name. I can't get it right, but I think objectively Rogue Warriors have a better lineup. That doesn't mean they're going to win tomorrow, but they're a little cheaper. So if I was going to go in this matchup, I think I'd go Rogue Warriors. But God, what a toilet bowl matchup that is, right?
So I went to Rogue Warriors immediately. I think it's only because I have, not this season, but I have won with Rogue Warriors before. Not all of these players, but I know that they have won before. I also think that there is a non-zero chance that OMG wins, but Rogue Warriors outscores them.
And a 2-1, that's up for – I think that's in play as well, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen that in matchups like this before, too. It was that E-Star one where they lost 2-1 against another team that was on the lower end. I can't remember exactly who it was, but then E-Star outscored in a loss, right? They were the highest scoring team on the entire slate. I think that was a 2-game slate, so that kind of changes that a little. But it's not out. This series between these two bad teams, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the loser actually outscores the winner either. So, what a fun one, right? To figure out.
So I guess the other question, sticking in the LPL, is whether you think there are enough kills in this Invictus top matchup to outscore BLG against Thunder Talk.
Yeah, I think so. I think BLG and DRX are the two teams we're going to look at as the safest on this slate, right? No disrespect to Fred and Breon coming off their sweep of T1. We know they've got some magic in them, so but overall they're a pretty bad team still, right? So I think we look at DRX and BLG as the safest teams on this slate in terms of winning, and probably pretty safe bets to sweep. But do they score enough in their wins is going to be the question for both of them. I feel better about DRX than I do about BLG, but I do think the winner of IG Top Esports should outscore BLG. Okay. It's always kind of tricky because if you expect IG and Top Esports to go to 3 games, you got to factor in, do they score enough points in those 3 games? The winner, do they score enough points in the 3 games to outscore BLG if BLG get the games not played bonus? But I do think that either Top Esports or Invictus Gaming have the upside that they can do that, right? So I do kind of expect that IG and Top Esports will outscore the BLG even in a sweep. And there's nothing to say that the winner of that IG Top Esports series also can't win via sweep, right? So True. You got to factor that in as well. They've got more upside, and if they do happen to sweep, then they're probably gonna, really crush BLG, I would think. But it's always a little kind of difficult to say. But that's kind of what you got to factor in between those two matchups. Looking at IG Top Esports, it's like Top Esports are pretty pricey, right?
Yeah, they are.
So for me, I think I want to be on the IG side because you get the ownership leverage. We know they come with upside, and they're not favored, so you don't have to get mad if they lose for playing them. I don't know. I think objectively probably top are in better form. But, it's not like IG have really been slumping, right? They've been playing pretty well as well, and we know that they've got the upside to beat anybody in the league, any of these top teams they can beat. So for me, it's like why I think I want to take my shot in that matchup on IG because I get the salary savings and just as much upside as any other team on this slate, right? So that's kind of where I'm looking there for that one.
The way I'm looking at IG is if there's another underdog that I like, then I just play top. I'll play top in that underdog because I can fit it.
Right.
But if the other underdogs and like none of them like jump out, like yes, I like if Rogue you want to get excited about Rogue Warriors, like go nuts. And like I think Invictus have a better shot at winning and scoring highly than Hanwha does against Gen.g. Like, whether right or wrong, it just I feel like the Chinese teams have more upside, and so I'm just going to side there. So like, if I decide like that IG is the only underdog that I like I'm fine with it because I know that they can score really well if they win, and so and then I can combine them with pretty much anyone because I mean they're not priced as like huge underdogs, but we don't necessarily need them to be.
They're pretty cheap though, right? And especially for their given upside. I think you're right. I think like we still see China outscoring Korea a lot. I will say for HLE that they do score pretty damn.
They do, yeah.
I shouldn't have cussed. Maybe they do score pretty darn well in wins. Hit the bleep button on me when you go to edit this. All right. No, just I didn't drop an F-bomb. I guess we're all right.
We're usually okay with that.
Hanwha Life do score pretty well in wins, but in this matchup, are they gonna be able to put like close to 20 kills up? Even if they sweep Gen.g, are they going to be able to put 20 kills up? I don't see it because, Gen.g kind of bogged things down a bit and slow the game down. And that's, without even factoring in that Gen.g are a really good team and there's no guarantee that Hanwha Life are even going to win this series, right? So I think on this particular matchup, the Chinese teams all have more upside than the Korean teams, I think. Maybe DRX could come out and just smash Fred Brion in 2 games. I don't think that would be a huge shock, but I mean, I'm going to side with China still. It's historically that's the way it's been, and it's pretty much been that way this year as well, right? So, I mean, I think IG are the underdog with the greatest upside on this slate for sure.
Yeah, I think it's not that I am doubting Hanwha's upside like in a vacuum. Like they average the 3rd most kills per game on the slate, more than Gen.g. Gen.g the fewest deaths per game, and it's like I guess I just don't see Gen.g getting steamrolled.
Yep, it's just the matchup. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if Hanwha Life came out and just like ran over Gen.g and just smashed them. I think that's you're probably looking at a closer lower kill series there than in other series with those 2 teams. So I think that will get slowed down a little just for the matchup. So I'm in agreement with you there.
The benefit also of having Invictus Gaming and Rogue Warriors as underdogs is that I have like literally 0 consideration for Thunder Talk and Fred Brion. Like none.
Yeah, me either, man. I mean, even coming off that sweep of T1, it's like I really like I just can't get behind playing Fred Brion like when I can play IG at a similar price, right? Fred and Brion are the cheapest on the slate, but like, for $600 more, I can get Puff instead of Henna, and I find it hard to believe that even if both teams won, that IG wouldn't outscore Fred and Brion in a win, and then Thunder Talk I just really have no consideration for at all tomorrow. Don't really like them in this matchup at all. I'm not really feeling them to compete with BLG, so. I'm not really looking at either of those 2 myself either. Just if I'm going to play an underdog, I'd rather get one that I think has significantly more upside in a win.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. Like, I'm wondering if the loser of Rogue Warriors and OMG outscores Fred Brion and Thunder Talk in wins. I'm expecting both of them to win. I think is a little crazy.
I was going to say I don't even think we got to really worry too much about those 2 teams winning. Right? So. I'm not factoring them winning into my equation at all, but I never have, in fairness, either. And obviously on some slates they have won games, so it's cost me a little. But it's like you're never. I feel like no one's ever going to be excited to play Fred Brion or Thunder Talk, right? Like, you do it on a 2-game slate to get ultimate leverage or something, but you're not like, yeah, I'm playing the 2 of the worst teams in their respective leagues against, good teams. It's like, I'm not going to be too hyped up for that, right? So
yeah, the other way I'm kind of looking at it is that if you do play one of them, I can't fathom long stacking them. No. And then they're so cheap that you'll probably have money for a one-off. So now you're only playing 2 of them.
Yeah.
And like if you're playing 2 of them, like you're basically playing the 2 positions that you don't want from your long stack. Like, it's not like there are guys from Thunder Talk or Fred Brion that you're like, oh, I have to have like Henna, or like that's just not there.
Right.
And so now you're just like, they're the underdog, and so you're basically choosing them over any of the other underdogs. And
yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, I want an underdog who I actually think is going to win,
right,
on a 5-game slate at least, right? Like, I want an underdog. If I'm playing an underdog, I want one that I think can actually win, and I don't think either of those 2 teams can win. And then to your point, it's like, you're going to have salary if you play those teams, so it's like, you're probably going to stick one of their top laners in, because it's like, well, top laners on favorite teams have low kill participation anyway,
yeah.
So let me get my long stack from the other 4 roles of the good team, and then it's like, are Chalitzi and Hoya going to score 40 points even if they win? God, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it. Yeah, I think we've spent too much time on 2 teams that we shouldn't even really be worried about at all tomorrow, right?
Fair enough.
But it's just more the talking out the thought process, right? Which is what we're mostly here for anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I'm on board with you, man. It's like, if I'm going to play an underdog, I want an underdog I actually think has a shot to win. And It's like, why? Especially Thunder Talk. Like, why would you ever play Chalitzi at 5,600 when you can play the Shy at 5,400? It's like, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree there. Part of me just thinks that people will start doing it and they'll be like, oh, I have extra money, so I'll just go here. And then all of a sudden you've literally tinkered yourself out of either of them, but you still feel better about it, so you're fine.
Yeah, I just lop them off the slate, honestly, and build around the other teams.
Right. Yeah. All right. If you guys have enjoyed the video, if you could please hit the like button below. Feel free to subscribe to all the RotoWire videos on YouTube, as well as hit that bell for notifications when new videos come up. You can also try a RotoWire subscription for free for 10 days with no credit card required if you go to rotowire.com/pod. That's POD. At the link down in the description, episode description below, so don't worry about that. Gets you, like I said, 10 free days to the site, as well as access to our subscriber Discord, which is open for everyone who's a member of RotoWire. So check that out. Ethan, thank you for that, and good luck on Sunday.
All right, same to you, man. Catch you tomorrow.